In Coventry in 2015, Inspector Hershey Bowl responded to a complaint about a puppy breeder.
Somebody bought a puppy from this address about 2 weeks ago, and the puppy really smelt quite strongly, had really bad worms, and was in a really bad condition. It's definitely a premises where dogs are being kept for breeding purposes. If you haven't got the facilities to breed them properly, i.e. the space and the time to look after them, things can go downhill very rapidly.
Hershey's never been to the house before, but there is a history of complaints. The first thing she notices is the smell.
I mean, I don't know if you can smell it, but while I stand here, I can smell, yeah.
When Hershey's shown the dogs out back, she can't believe the state they're in.
Those dogs are filthy, absolutely filthy. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a video of this area, of the way they're living, OK?
What the camera reveals is distressing. 5 adult German Shepherds and 5 of their puppies living in a concrete cage surrounded by their own mess.
You can't keep them like this. You can't keep them clean.
The owner says it's not normally like this, but in amongst the feces, a pile of raw meat.
They are eating it. I've just seen one eating it.
Hershey is disgusted and most concerned for the young dogs.
But look at how you're treating those puppies. Look at them. You shouldn't have them there. None of these dogs can stay here like this. It's not fair.
The owners want to keep some of the dogs, but Hershey's run out of patience.
No, you can't keep on top of it. It's not working, because you've said this before. And then you've had more puppies. They're not staying here, they're filthy. It stops now.
Reluctantly, the owners agree to sign over 2 of the females and all 5 puppies.
I am not doing my job if I walk away from those dogs.
The owners don't want the rescue in full view of the street.
Are you able to pick up 2?
With the puppies safely in the back of the van, Hershey needs to get them straight to the dog wash before they can be put in front of a vet.
I can't allow him to just sell these dogs and let them live in filth. It's just not going to happen. I've got 2 puppies in each side, and they are really, really sort of covered in feces. They're very wet and sort of stinky, really. That's supposed to be a white German Shepherd puppy. It isn't white at all. You can see how, it's absolutely filthy. It's actually quite heartbreaking because, the smell is unbelievable. I mean, I've got a really strong stomach, and once I was inside the property in the, where the dogs were in this back bit, which was a concrete floor, it was actually really quite difficult to just stand there. It was getting into the back of the throat. The dog meat that on the floor that was raw was actually just thrown on the floor for the dogs to eat with the feces around it, all covered. But he'd just thrown it. It wasn't even in a bowl, and it's a complete disregard for the welfare of these dogs, and actually just a disrespect for them.
Hershey's fuming.
This is not a way that a puppy should start its life. It's really frustrating for me. I can't put it into words actually how annoyed I am, because if I did put it into words, I'd have to swear. It's
a shocking story. The puppies need medical assessment and cleaning up. Covered in muck, no one knows what state they're really in. We'll find out their true condition later. It's thought as many as 1,000 puppies of sought-after breeds are smuggled into Britain each week. Once they are here, the puppies are sold on to rogue dealers who hide the dogs' true identities.
I've got a piece of paper, pup 8 months old, £100.
Organised gangs sell on high-value breeds to maximise profits, and with some puppies costing as much as £2,000, there are millions to be made.
That's supposed to be a white German Shepherd puppy. It isn't white at all. You can see how, it's absolutely filthy. It's actually quite heartbreaking because, the puppies are really, really covered in feces. And then you've had more puppies. That's supposed to be a white German Shepherd puppy. It isn't white at all. You can't keep on top of it. It's not working. The owner says it's not normally like this, but in amongst the feces,
But many are unvaccinated and sick and die within days of unsuspecting buyers bringing them home. In 2013, Inspector Kathy Hyde was on the outskirts of Manchester working with the police in a joint operation to smash a suspected puppy trafficking ring.
There's a huge amount of money to be made out of breeding and selling puppies. Some come from sort of more locally, which is Wales or Ireland, but it appears more and more that they're coming from Eastern European countries, and there's concerns about their welfare coming that far, and also in terms of what vaccinations they've had prior to being imported.
For legal reasons, we weren't allowed in, but after Kathy spends a good hour exploring the house, one thing is clear in her mind. These dogs need to come out.
And there's probably about 30 dogs in there, puppies, not ideal environment, too crowded and things like that. So it's a question now of sorting out exactly where they're going. They've got dogs everywhere, dogs about to give birth, lots of puppies, and there's major concerns about the welfare in there as well.
It looks as though it's one breed in particular that's being cashed in on, French Bulldogs. Kathy's team are on hand to get the dogs assessed and out of there. And as the numbers climb, more of them are showing signs of illness. But there's a few very young ones that Kathy is particularly concerned about. On the surface, they might look okay, but they're all showing signs of a potentially fatal virus.
We suspect this litter of puppies got something called parvovirus, which can kill very, very quickly. It affects their digestive system and they start pooing blood and getting very dehydrated, and these are the signs that we're seeing in these puppies. So priority to get them to the vet, get them rehydrated and get them treated.
In total, the team managed to rescue over 40 dogs, 10 of which needed urgent medical attention. As Kathy reaches the vets, 2 little puppies thought to have the killer parvovirus have gone downhill.
It's these two. I mean, we brought them to a very strange environment, and you can hear the other dogs and puppies in the background that are obviously interested, and these two aren't at all interested. They're very, very tired, very lethargic.
Kathy may have rescued them, but could it be too late to save them? Stay with us to find out. Earlier, Inspector Hershey Bowl rescued a group of German Shepherd puppies from a cage where they had to live in their own mess. They're in desperate need of a wash.
You kind of got no chance of not getting dirty now. It might be a bit wormy, so yeah, go for it.
Unsurprisingly, the food the puppies had eaten from the filthy floor has come back up.
That's what they're sicking up. Look, it's actually raw meat.
It's the sign of a sick dog, but first they must be cleaned up before they can get medical attention. Luckily, animal carers Sam Hall and Ross McAlpine know a thing or two about grooming. They've smelt some dirty dogs in their time, but these guys are off the scale.
This is one of the worst smells I've had to deal with. It's very, very strong. I've never seen puppies like in this state before. It's quite horrendous, to be honest. The white one, it's completely brown, so we definitely going to need a few washes on these dogs.
To transform this ugly duckling, the boys will need plenty of soap, water and elbow grease.
Oh God. Actual, like, big chunk of poo that was stuck in his fur under his armpit. Can't have been very comfortable and obviously not hygienic.
But that's not the worst of this poor pup's suffering.
That's a big worm as well, actually. That's a worm that would have come out of him.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Pups should receive treatment to get rid of worms from 6 weeks old. The parasite lives off the nutrients they need to grow and can make them lose weight, feel sick and tired. The puppies will get medicine to get rid of the worms, but right now, the only treatment this white German Shepherd's getting is doggy shampoo.
Hopefully this shampoo will do an extra job and help really get the whiteness out on this coat that it should be.
It's a nice smell. The shampoo is a nice break from my nostrils.
After a few more baths, once he's looking a lot more like a white shepherd, we're hoping that he's tolerated it very well. So hopefully this is the start of things to come. Things will get better for him now. A lot of the brown dirt has come out, but he still will need a few more washes.
This white shepherd is going from brunette to platinum blonde.
Hello.
His brothers and sisters have more traditional German shepherd colours, but they're still a lot darker than they should be.
Looks like the little guy at the front is going to volunteer first.
It's all right, mate.
Playing around in poo has made this pup truly mucky.
See the dirt coming out of the ears.
While the kids have a wash, Hershey gets mum Cheetah off to see vet Robert Ingle.
This dog's called Cheetah, and she's the mother of the puppies that we've removed today.
Imagine feeding from these teats, they're filthy.
Yeah.
I don't believe she's got milk anymore. I mean, just imagine being one of the puppies having to feed on that teat covered in faeces. It's horrible, just horrible.
It was a very difficult situation because, 5 adult dogs and then 5 puppies.
Yeah.
And you can see how dirty that Cheetah is.
She's
filthy. She's filthy, yet the puppies are dirtier than her. I mean, there were 5 puppies, and it almost looked like somebody just got a bucket of dog faeces, thrown it on top of the dogs, and then let it dry. And then puppies, obviously, behaviour, jumping over each other.
Don't envy you it.
No.
I don't.
Cheetah desperately needs a wash too, but she can't get a scrub until she's been past fit.
Maybe a small amount of inflammation starting up in her right ear as well, so I'm going to get her some ear drops. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah,
Good
that's
girl.
fine.
With one last vaccination, the medical check is complete.
Didn't feel it.
Good girl.
Now, just like her pups, she can have a good wash.
Good girl.
But there's a bit of a queue for the dog spa. The pups are still being showered, and the dirt coming off just 2 of them has blocked the drainage.
So it's all got clogged up from the washing the shepherds, basically, and all the dirt. It's just after the second one, it's already sort of jammed the plug, so we're going to have to clear that up. As you can see, the water is just absolutely filthy. Because they're long hair, it gets very sort of jammed in here, so we're just kind of clearing that up, and hopefully that will now drain.
With the drains cleared, a month's worth of mess can be massaged out of this one's coat. The puppies are doing fine, but it's going to be a long stay because they're going to need even more intensive cleaning. And while they dry out, it gives Hershey a chance to check in on them.
Oh, my God. You really are white. I'm just in the process of bathing these are 5 puppies, so these have already been done. I mean, they've only had a bit of a wash. They're going to have to have another wash. They're so filthy. It still doesn't look as white as it should, but that's such an improvement just from one bath. I mean, you look lovely, don't you, darling? They'll dry off, hopefully, and then they'll probably have another bath again tomorrow. It's all too much for them to keep bathing them, and it's just a real shame that they've, been in such dirty conditions.
For this crew, it's not only about finding their natural colour, but regaining what's left of their childhood.
They've never had any toys in that pen, so they probably don't really know what toys are.
The puppies are now smelling much better and can look forward to being rehomed. Earlier on, in Manchester, Chief Inspector Cathy Hyde and her team joined forces with the police in a crackdown on a suspected puppy trafficking ring.
We've got dogs everywhere, dogs about to give birth, lots of puppies, and there's major concerns about the welfare in there as well.
People involved in the black market puppy trade are making millions of pounds at the expense of dogs. And the puppies at this address showed signs that they may not have been receiving the care they deserve.
We suspect this litter of puppies got something called parvovirus, which can kill very, very quickly.
Puppies aren't as hardy as adult dogs, and if they haven't been vaccinated, and are living in poor conditions, common in puppy trafficking cases, viruses spread and the consequences can be dire. So these dogs need urgent medical attention.
Basically, we've done some warrants and address, but we're specifically concerned about these two in particular, suspected parvo.
Right. So are they just generally, you just notice them lethargic?
Very lethargic, very dehydrated, and also they've seen some blood in their faeces as well.
And that's not all the vet discovers is wrong with them.
That's quite a severe conjunctivitis, that, for a puppy of this age. So that, quite possibly could be viral.
Conjunctivitis is another highly contagious condition that could well have been passed around by the dogs all being kept together when they're ill. But for now, they have more pressing concerns.
We're going to just see if we can apply a catheter into one of the veins on the front leg and just start getting some intravenous fluids through there.
With no idea how long these little ones have been like this, they could still go downhill very quickly. And if the RSPCA hadn't got to them first, they could well have been sold on at death's door. For now, this little pair are still with us, but as the team assess the other puppies, some are showing worrying symptoms.
If we identify parvo or distemper, then they are life-threatening viral diseases. And in particular, the puppies that we've got in there that are dehydrated, they're in a reasonable amount of danger at the moment from dying because of the condition that they've got.
There's nothing more the vets can do for the puppies suspected to have the parvovirus. For them, it's a waiting game. And the sad truth is, their problems could well have been prevented with a simple vaccination, but instead, they were left to suffer. Next to get Sean's attention is one of the older dogs, who has another very contagious condition, kennel cough.
That must be so unpleasant, constantly like that.
For dogs, kennel cough is a fairly common bacterial infection. Sometimes they'll recover on their own, but if it's severe, like this, it can lead to pneumonia, so it's always worth getting them checked out by a vet.
When they get it, you hear them occasionally, but this is almost constant, so I would think it's had it for some time and not had treatment.
So it's a good thing Sean's on hand to get it sorted.
Got an antibiotic in there, an anti-inflammatory.
What's wrong?
Just get rid of the inflammation in his throat. And there's also something called tobigesic, which is an antitussive. It's actually an anti-coughing agent. So it just breaks the cough cycle. So we'll get that.
Kathy needs to make sure she gathers every ounce of evidence if she's to ensure a conviction. But as more of the dogs are seen,
These two are a bit worrying.
it's becoming clear that these dogs weren't being properly cared for.
Because of the condition of some of the animals that have come in, especially the very sick puppies, we're looking at possible offences under the Animal Welfare Act. Section 4 offence is where an animal's actually been allowed to suffer and is suffering when it's seen by the vet. So the puppies that have got suspected parvovirus or distemper should have had vet treatment some time ago, and they've not received that vet treatment, which was meant they're in a critical condition.
The team's been working tirelessly to get through the caseload, and the welfare of our four-legged friends is a top priority for everyone here.
This looks a bit of a mess. That's been there some time, hasn't it? It's quite nasty, isn't it?
It is nasty. Now, I wouldn't chew at that, haven't you? That's a dermatitis. Sometimes, if a dog gets a skin infection, as it starts to heal, you then get itchiness and they start to traumatise the skin quite severely. And that's the result of the self-trauma, that they just keep going and going and going at it. The skin then starts to have areas which is harbouring infection, and then it itches more, and on it goes. And it then becomes a vicious cycle. I'll give her an injection of a steroid-based anti-inflammatory, let's get the itch out of it.
8 hours on, and it's been a gruelling day for the team. But the rescue's been well worth it. 10 of the rescued dogs needed urgent medical attention, and for some, the next few days are crucial to their survival.
We just have to sit and wait now with regards to response to treatment, unfortunately, in these sorts of instances, because you've got a very young animal which is very debilitated. The dehydration makes them feel exceptionally unwell. Sometimes they respond very quickly, so we find within 24, 48 hours of treatment they are the puppies that we'd expect to see. They're bright and they're up and about and they're causing havoc. But unfortunately, in some instances, we can keep them on fluids forever and a day, and it really doesn't make any difference because they reach an end point where they start to decline in their health. And of course, we have to then consider euthanasia if that happens.
We'll let you know how they got on later in the show. Also coming up, 4 bulldogs caged and neglected in a backyard show telltale signs of callous breeding.
They're not bothered about the welfare, so they just leave them in kennels. Just breed them and breed them and breed them.
And as certain breeds of pups can equal big bucks, we tell the story of the 27 poodles removed from a life of breeding cruelty. Anthony Joins is an inspector based on Merseyside. In 2014, a complaint came in about a number of English bulldogs that may have been abandoned in a backyard.
We're just around the corner now. This could be a malicious complaint where it's just barking and people have got fed up. But we'll see what we find, but we're just sort of arriving now.
It's alleged that the person who was living at the address has moved out and left the dogs behind.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
It appears as though no one's home.
It does look empty. It's probably I've just moved out.
And when he looks over the back fence, he discovers 4 hungry-looking female bulldogs tightly packed in 2 small cages. Anthony suspects they've been bred for profit.
Given the breed of dogs, sort of English bulldog type dogs, you know, if he's breeding them, they're making a hell of a lot of money. And they're not bothered about the welfare, so they just put them in, just leave them in kennels, turn up once a day-ish, leave some food and water, if they're lucky, and then, you know, just breed them and breed them and breed them.
And with a single bulldog puppy able to fetch as much as £2,000, it's no surprise that illegal puppy farms are on the increase. The tenant has disappeared, but the owner of the property turns up.
Yesterday, I come here.
Yeah.
Found all the house bloody upside down, but all the stuff gone.
Okay.
And dogs in the garden.
Have you got a contact number for them?
No, they've done midnight clips, that's what I'm saying.
I need to know what's going on. Our dogs penned up in a little cage, they go stir crazy. They've got no stimulation whatsoever. That is just a little breeding factory that's in there.
Anthony wants to take a closer look at how they're living. It's a legal requirement that dogs are provided with adequate shelter, food and water.
4 bitches here. 2 litters a year, maybe, each. 8 litters. Say they have 6 or 7. £1,000 each. We're looking at a lot of money.
Based on Anthony's estimates, these dogs could be making tens of thousands a year for their owners.
I'm going to take all of these dogs. It's disgusting, isn't it? Breeding machines.
Anthony can't just seize the dogs, but he doesn't want them to stay another night cooped up and living in squalor in pens better suited to chickens. So he hatches a plan.
It might be easier if you don't want me to get the police out here. Sign a form for me.
So just take the dogs?
Yeah. As the property owner, allow me to remove them, and then I'll take them to the vet. And if the owner comes forward, which they're not going to now because they know I'm going to interview them, I'll just rehome the dogs. Happy ending. Yeah, those dogs, they're lovely.
With the owner of the property willing to sign the dogs over to Anthony, he's able to get them out of there.
That's a breeding factory. If we can break that breeding factory up, you know, we'll rehome them in a couple of weeks' time if no one comes forward. So, and I don't think they will, to be honest. Have you got space for 3? Yeah.
With the support he needs, it's time to get the dogs out. But as Anthony quickly discovers, these dogs are in bad shape.
This one's limping. She's not very happy. She's got abrasions on her bottom jaw there.
As they bring them out one by one, the list of conditions adds up.
He's got a problem with its eye, hasn't he? This dog's just not been socialised. He's probably never been out. It's terrified of even walking, you know. Come on. It's OK, girl. We're going to take the dogs to the vet, get them checked over. The one with the problem with its eye is quite worrying. No one's coming here. No one's taking responsibility for these dogs. Then we'll take responsibility, but we'll get them looked after.
Anthony needs to get all the dogs checked out by a vet, so he's brought them along to see Holly Jones. The female dogs were stuffed in 2 per cage, and being confined to such a tight space has led to tension.
So I think these 2, this is going to be AJ3, AJ4, and I think there's been a scrap between these 2.
You look like you had puppies. So she's just very sore between her toes, most likely where she's been stood in all the faeces and the ammonia.
I know.
It's really red and broken.
I know.
She has got a very obvious midline scar.
This scar could well be explained by a C-section. Because bulldog puppy heads are so big, they often have to be born this way.
But she's definitely had puppies.
It looks as though Anthony's suspicion that these dogs have been bred from has been confirmed.
Oh, yeah, you're the heaviest. You can see there's blood on the neck and...
There's a hole in the muscle in the abdominal wall, so a bit of fat's poking through, but gut could get stuck in it.
Oh, okay.
It's not fixed. And that can be fatal.
So that needs action in too?
Yeah.
Next up is the bulldog with the badly infected eye.
The eye's really sore.
This condition is known as cherry eye. It's where the tear duct has prolapsed and can be common in bulldogs. But if left untreated like this and infected, it could lead to blindness.
Third eyelid needs operating on.
Okay.
Hopefully, Anthony has got this dog there in enough time to save her eye.
Lovely girl.
And the final dog, who was cooped up in a tiny cage, has rubbed fur off her face.
See all the
abrasions on her face where she's been trying to get out of the cage.
Probably through just sheer boredom and not wanting to live in that sort of environment, I imagine. You're not there anymore.
Well, all these girls are in safe hands now.
Nice to see them in a nice clean bed tonight.
I'll give them a bath tomorrow, I think.
They all need a bath, don't they?
I need a bath.
I need a bath.
Anthony's sat in the car with me.
Stink. You stink.
And even though Anthony might smell a bit, he's happy to get them settled in.
These dogs haven't had attention, not at all, and they deserve it because they're lovely dogs. And, you know, the owner comes forward and they'll have a whole host of problems because they'll be interviewed and, you know, they could have an afternoon in a magistrate's court.
We'll be catching up with these ladies at the end of the show. Unfortunately, the RSPCA deal with far too many cases of terrible neglect. Sometimes it can be just 1 or 2 dogs that are affected, but on occasion, it can be on a huge scale. In November 2008, the RSPCA raided breeding kennels at Brigstock in Northamptonshire, where a colossal 99 St Bernards were being kept in appalling conditions. By the time the RSPCA got there, for some of these gentle giants, it was already too late. Clint Davis was one of the inspectors that was called out.
To get 99 animals in one particular location, in the time I've been in, which is over 23 years, I've not had anything like that.
The dogs were being kept in kennels which were covered in urine and faeces.
Kennel 1 contains 2 adult St Bernard dogs.
And without access to food or water, many of them were terribly underweight. And through exhaustion, some had even collapsed. 85 of the 99 dogs found were in very poor health, some covered in sores and untreated abscesses. But the team worked tirelessly to get every dog they could out of there.
As stressful or distressing as it can be in some of the situations that RSPCA officers see, you have to think, right, I've got to do what I've got to do for the welfare of the animal.
The owner of the kennels was banned from keeping dogs for 10 years and was sent to prison for this huge-scale neglect. Barney is one of the rescued St Bernards. Now his life couldn't be more different. For the past 6 years, he's been living in this idyllic country retreat with his new owner, Pam Harrison.
Well, he arrived as a little puppy, and he was a bit boisterous for a start because, you know, he'd been in kennels, he wasn't used to being in a house. He didn't know he wasn't supposed to use the house as a toilet. And
Well, you're not welcome round mine, Barney.
he loves the children. He warns me if there's anybody about because I live on my own, and he's been a really good dog.
But he's got Pam wrapped round, well, his big paw.
I get up in the morning and have to immediately give him his breakfast, and then I'm allowed to come back and have my breakfast.
If he gets too bossy, there's always a horse to put him in his place. Have you seen him? It's almost as big as a horse. Today, on a break from his normal duties, Clint's paying Barney a visit. But it looks like this big fella's got out on the wrong side of bed this morning.
Hello, mate.
Maybe someone had this big bear of a dog's porridge.
What's up, fella? Hey, I ain't picking you up today.
No, you think you'd have a job?
You can say that again.
It's huge, absolutely massive. I mean, he's got to be best part of 70 kilos there. I don't know whether it's fortunate I can pop by and see him or what, but he's not too receptive today, is he?
If people stick their fingers, you know, oh, isn't he lovely? No, don't, just leave him. And,
Yeah.
But they still will do it.
Oh, yeah, well, more fool them.
That's Clint told.
It must be the uniform or something.
Or maybe he didn't like that picture you took of him when he was still a little one. But a bit of food gets this big fella on side.
There you go, and leave the hand on, Barn. Good lad. Obviously, when you can get any animal, you know, whether it's a case animal or you get something which has been involved in a traffic accident, that's always the nice side of the job is, you know, you can rehabilitate it and find a new home for it where it's going to be looked after.
Well, he's a companion, guard dog. Just life wouldn't be the same without him, would it? Of course I love him.
Earlier, Inspector Anthony Joins rescued 4 bulldogs from what he believed to be a small-scale puppy farm in Liverpool.
1 bitch, 2 bitches, 3 bitches. They were living in just absolute filth. My gut feeling was that they were just being kept purely for exploitation, really, to be bred from.
But the good news is, today, Anthony is on his way to visit one of the dogs, Lola, in her new home with dog rescuers Julie and Kev Wilson.
Lola, where are you? She loves coming up here for a nice walk, letting her off her lead and that. It's great, love her. Go on, Loves. Come on, Loves. She was in cages and now she's out and running around enjoying it with other dogs. It's great. Seeing where she's come from and more determined to give her a good home. She'll be looked after for the rest of her life with us. Lola! Come on, girl!
And after some fresh air, Lola's getting a surprise visit. Her favourite inspector is calling in on his way home from work.
Exciting stuff.
Hiya,
you all right?
Yeah, I'm fine, thanks. Come on.
Lola.
Lola.
Come on then.
Hey, come on then, let's go in. Let's go in. Oh.
How's she settled in? Is she settled in well?
Settled in really well, yeah. Really well, yeah.
When I took her out of that horrific environment, she hadn't been stimulated, she hadn't seen anything, she hadn't experienced anything. Coming into your house, was it sort of a learning curve for her? Or she...
At first, she was a bit weird. The telly, the washing machine, it was all different to her.
Yeah.
She just didn't know what everything was. But now she's brilliant, settled in.
Thanks.
Spoiled rotten.
Spoiled rotten.
Aren't you? Hey, spoiled rotten.
Do you want to give me a kiss? No. Oh, thanks. Hey.
Bye.
For me, that was an absolute pleasure and a joy. And from day one, when we took it out of that horrific environment, never experienced love or compassion from a human, living in appalling conditions. To that, it's completely opposite side of the spectrum. It's a genuine happy ending, which is absolutely fantastic to see. It makes me realise that that's why I do the job.
Coming up, the miraculous transformation of timid Bridget, one of 27 caged and frightened poodles. In Somerset in 2017, Inspector Lewis Taylor was working alongside the police on a disturbing case. A large number of poodles were being kept in one house.
Downstairs was a very small kitchen, which, as soon as we walked in, we were just met with, a sight that was bewildering, really. 5 cages containing 21 dogs. As though they'd been, I don't know, packed and racked like items, like belongings, and not treated as, individual beings. And there was another 6 dogs which were all confined to just one room upstairs. So 27 dogs in one very small house. So it was just an absolutely pitiful sight, really. My heart just really went out to them because they just looked like they had spent so long inside those cages. They just seemed absolutely petrified. It appeared to me that they'd probably never seen the light of day outside that house.
11 of the 27 poodles were brought to Brent Knoll Rescue Centre. One of the most nervous of them, 4-year-old Bridget, is now being looked after by Andy Cook, a behavioural specialist who's working on regaining her trust.
Good girl, Bridget.
Today, Bridget is going to get another opportunity to say hello to the inspector who rescued her, under much happier circumstances.
Hi Andy, all right?
Hiya.
How's it going?
Yeah, not too bad.
Hello. Hey, girl. Is this Bridget?
Yeah, little Bridget.
Wow. Brilliant.
She looks quite different from the last time you saw her.
Yeah, she does, actually. She looks resembling more of a poodle.
Yeah.
And I could, tell she's still a little bit sort of nervous, but so much better than the night we picked them up. So fantastic.
But we're just hoping to start introducing her to some new people now, so being as though she hasn't seen you for a little while.
Yeah, that's it.
No better time.
Oh, that's better. Good girl.
Nervous Bridget looks pretty relaxed with Lewis already.
OK, off you go, Bridget. There we go.
Bridget and her poodle pals are now finally on their way to living the happy lives they deserve.
Cuddle, do you? But look at him now, it's totally different.
Yeah.
Good girl, Bridge. Good girl. Hello. Look at her now, she's so much more confident when she's got her friends to back her up. Aren't you? Look. Good girl. And you, yeah. It's been really nice to see them coming out of their shells today and running around and being dogs and playing with each other, being mischievous, being trouble, jumping all over us.
The owner of the poodles was found guilty of causing unnecessary harm and suffering and was banned from owning animals for 10 years. She was also given an 18-week custodial sentence, suspended for a year. But the great news is, just 3 weeks ago, shy little Bridget found her forever home on the Somerset coast. And Best in Show went to catch up with her and her new owner, Lynn Bjorkstrand.
When we first saw her, we were just so bowled over. My daughter was straight away, "This is the one, Mum." Love at first sight.
Now renamed Dolly, this little poodle is already loved and adored by all the family.
She just fits in so well here. And because my daughters are all besotted with her, they spend a lot of time visiting, and she's got a proper little family now.
But little Dolly is still adjusting to life outside in the big wide world.
See if we can get you on that grass. No? But her behaviour as a result of kind of the trauma has been that she has got anxieties. What's this, little Dolly face? She'd lived in a cage for most of her life, and she's now around 5, so obviously we knew she hadn't been a puppy as such, hadn't really seen the light of day.
But Dolly is already responding well.
Come on, inside. I've seen her confidence increase since she's been in this environment, because it's just me and her most of the time. So she's getting so much attention. She's just going in the right direction now. She's learning all the things she should have learned when she was a puppy. Chew. Oh.
And one of those things is walkies.
Yes, my dolls, come on then. Just going out and about with her, I love walking, and she's getting used to being taken for walks now. She's not been walked very much, I don't think, in the past. When I first had her, she literally wouldn't move away from my feet, from practically attached to my leg. She's kind of more able to sort of move further away now. Come on, doll, come on. Come on. She's much more relaxed. I can sort of feel how much more relaxed she is. And she looks happy. I can sort of get the feeling that she's quite happy, which is lovely to see, really. Because that's all that any little dog deserves, isn't it, really? And it's hopefully for the long haul, you know. She's just such a lovely little character to have around. I wouldn't be without her, you know. I feel as though I've had her for so much longer than 3 weeks.
The condition of the English bulldogs rescued by Anthony Joines improved dramatically, and they were all rehomed. 40 of the 41 French bulldogs rescued by Kathy Hyde and her team survived, but sadly one did die. The breeders left the country and were never prosecuted. And Nala, one of the German Shepherd puppies rescued by Hershey Bowl, has gone from rolling around in her own mess to a life mucking in down on the farm with new owners Dave Newcomb and Kate Blenkinsop.
From being cooped up in such a small space, this for her must be her idea of heaven. Absolutely. Doggy paradise, yeah. It's an absolute joy to see her enjoying all the space, and, you know, she doesn't feel confined, and she's relaxed, she's happy. Yeah, it's lovely to see.